With me is Fabrizio Bozzato. He's a Senior Research Fellow at the Sasakawa Peace Foundation, and Stephen Nagy. He's a Senior Associate Professor at the International Christian University. Stephen and Fabrizio, welcome to WION.
Thank you very much.
Let me start with you. While we saw the Quad leaders meeting here in Tokyo yesterday, we also saw Russia and China conducting a joint drill. How do you see that development?
Well, that was to be expected. China and Russia are deepening their cooperation in every area, including military cooperation. They have an annual agenda for that. And, as Xi Jinping said recently, China and Russia cooperation knows no limits, and there are no forbidden areas, including the military. If they wanted to give a strong message to the Quad leaders in Tokyo, they did that, and they elicited a strong response. Again, was to be expected. We know that President Biden uttered a statement about the U.S. intervening with its military to defend Taiwan from Chinese attack. The Chinese responded sternly, but that's part of the game. So nothing new under the sun. As the Japanese defense minister said, it is a matter of great concern, but a matter that can be managed, and it doesn't signal that there is a real escalation, military escalation in the region. It's just a provocation and a response as usual.
So, Russia-China military cooperation is not new, but the timing of these drills left little to imagination. Do you think that whether the Quad members or all of the Quad members like it or not, the world is slowly being divided into two clear blocs?
So no, I don't think so. I think what we saw is the Chinese and the Russians reciprocating the coming together of the Quad members. This is not the first time the Quad members come, and what we often see is that the Chinese and the Russians reciprocate in some kind of action. The Japanese do something, the Chinese reciprocate. It's a message to show displeasure. Are we splitting into a divided order? This depends on how much we understand the convergence of interests of the Russians and the Chinese. And I think at this particular stage, I do think the Chinese have buyer's regret with regards to supporting the invasion of Ukraine by Russia. Russia is isolated. They see a united United States, EU, as well as Japan, South Korea, Australia, and other countries putting on fiscal sanctions, economic sanctions. And I think the Chinese are taking home the message is that the world today is much more united behind a US-led Western world, and that US-led Western world includes many-lateral relationships like the Quad, where India plays a very important role.
You mentioned the statement on Taiwan. I've been looking at the commentary in the local press, and many say that these statements, the third one by President Biden in the last few months, saying that the US is going to defend Taiwan militarily if needed, is only going to escalate tensions and makes the US strategy of the US policy of strategic ambiguity even more ambiguous.
Well, the US policy of strategic ambiguity is standing, and frankly speaking, the only element, the only factor, the only event that can precipitate a Chinese attack or Chinese invasion of Taiwan will be a formal declaration of independence from Taipei as Republic of Taiwan. Short of that, it's part of the game. I believe that the Chinese took President Biden's statement seriously. They responded vigorously, but they also think that time is on their side when it comes to Taiwan. And they have a strong belief in the continuity in power. They are aware that the midterm elections by general agreement will be not favorable to the Democratic Party and the Biden administration. So they think they can wait. In less than 3 years there will be a new president probably in Washington. And while China geography will not move Taiwan from China. The Chinese are playing the long game, and President Biden's statement will galvanize our friends in Taipei, but is not changing the strategic reality of cross-strait relations.
Interesting, and this is the first I've heard in a while that China is prepared to wait for at least 3 more years and wait for a regime change in the US to make moves in Taiwan?
Well, Xi Jinping, the Communist Party of China has been, in charge since 1949,
Yes.
and they believe that they're going to be in power
forever.
for forever, if not forever, for many more decades, while the U.S. administrations come and go. But in the case of also in the case of the U.S., just like in the case of China, national interest stays. And the U.S. national interest mandates that they protect Taiwan with all necessary means, and China's grand strategic vision includes Taiwan and control of the Taiwan, because the moment you control Taiwan, you will turn the Pacific in a Sino-American lake.
WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.